Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning. Not sure where everyone is, but it's great that you are here today. I am hoping this is a great conversation where we can interact via the comments. I'm going to explain the agenda in a second, but I just wanted to say I am appreciative of this time right now, and I am looking forward, like I said, to giving you this talk on the careers for now in IT and how to maintain that competitive edge. If you have any questions, please do put it in the chat. And if you want to reach out after this presentation, I'm more than happy to add my social medias towards the end as well, where you can reach out. So without further ado, I'm going to go through to the presentation. So, okay, maintaining the competitive edge. So I'm going to move on to the agenda now. So I'm going to explain to you who I am. I'm going to explain to you the SkillStruct story, and then we're going to have a conversation in two parts. I'm not sure who is interested in the technical aspect of IT or just want to get general aspects. I'm just going to explain generally what the IT careers now are and also how to maintain the competitive edge and give you some takeaways at the end. And if you have any questions, the facilitators on the call will point me out to it. And yeah, I'll be happy to answer them either towards the end or as I'm going through to the presentation. So yeah, the agenda. I'm going to now move on to who I am. So I just wanted to give you a bit of who I am, like who is this person giving this talk about IT? What is his credentials? So here it is. So who I am. So my name is Michael Olatokun, like I said at the beginning. And from a young age, I've always been a wanderer. I've always been somebody that's been really interested in how things work, lifting the rug, as it were. And as a result of that, I joined this initiative when I was in sixth form about cyberbullying and how social media works. And it actually got me interested in technology because actually before I was actually going to do law. And I had no real connection in terms of computer science and technology. I did IT, but at the same time, it wasn't as in depth as computer science when it came to programming. So again, I didn't really see myself in the career path I'm in now, but just through joining this initiative back in the day with cyberbullying, I decided, hey, technology is an interesting space. How does it work? I don't know, but I'm definitely interested in finding out. I've liked gaming and I've liked other things, so I thought, you know what, it kind of relates, technology is so broad in its essence that I wanted to get into it more. And another point was job security. I kind of got the sense that technology was really booming and we were really in the infancy of something that was going to grow exponentially. So this was about 2011 now. I'm about to go to university. I've done a placement at this time and I've done a series of modules, and it all resulted in 2015 when I got my first class honors. And that was a proud achievement considering I was somebody that didn't do computer science back then. And I was like, you know what? This is really great and I'm really proud of myself. So I always instill that proudness every time I talk to people about, my journey, just because it wasn't an easy thing. But with the steps that I'm going to explain later on, I can explain how you, if you are interested in technology, can make a success in this space. So yeah, fast forward now to, like I said, 2015, 4 years after university. I'm now at a stage where I'm starting my career, and I've been pretty much everywhere since I've began my career. I've worked in the government before as a software developer. I've worked in the finance sector as a software developer. Again, I was really interested in financial literacy. So I decided I wanted to join the financial sector where I can leverage my technical skills and get a bit of the insight into trading and financial literacy like credit and debit. And then before I get into SkillStruct, I joined a consultancy firm in order to get an understanding of how the business world works, getting clients and going through a journey really from going from just a concept to an actual fully fledged system. And you get such great learning in a consultancy, which was my strategy in terms of how I can now build SkillStruct using a sort of consultancy arm. So that's how I got into SkillStruct, I guess. So I started to really want to help people and help people that were technical, but also people in general when they transition from university or wanted to get into their career path. And I'm going to go to the next slide in a sec, but I just wanted to highlight some other things about who I am. I'm a mentor, so I spend a lot of my time with mentees, and I'm somebody that advocates, just to give back. And that's what a lot of SkillStruct is. It's an empowerment platform for young people and people that want to start their career path. So I provide tools for people who are going to interview, for example. So I've just caught up with somebody this morning who has an interview on Tuesday, and we were just breaking down in terms of a mock interview kind of tips and tricks to help her. And so, yeah, it's just something where, it's all about giving back. So mentoring is part of who I am, platform provider, and I'll explain a bit more about that later on. I blog as well. I write stuff about knowledge management. I write stuff about networking and all sorts of aspects of career interviews, things like that. So that's who I am. And of course, I'm a software developer, a language learner. And I know we are filming, and, this campus party has so much reach all over the world, and language is such a beautiful thing that, unites us. We all have a language, and for that, I'm actually really passionate. So I actually am quite fluent when it comes to Spanish. And so that's been a journey in itself. So that's actually helped me as well when it comes to communication and just learning English, ironically enough, because you really do go back to basics. So yeah, that's a bit about me. And now I'm going to talk about SkillStruct a bit more and then start with the conversation. So I'm going to go to the next slide right now, and hopefully all going well, this video will play. And I'm going to explain, well, I'm going to get the video to explain better who or what SkillStruct is, why, and where you can reach out. So without further ado, I'm going to play the video.
SkillStruct, the story. The what, who, why, and where. What is SkillStruct? SkillStruct is formed of two words. Skill, meaning talent, know-how, and art, plus structure, meaning routine, shape, and form. And together with those words,
Oh, excuse me.
SkillStruct was born. We believe that people have either one, but struggle to combine the two. We give you the SkillStruct tools and techniques to help you achieve your goals. So what is SkillStruct? SkillStruct is a combination of skill and structure formed in a methodology and lifestyle. Who are SkillStruct? We're a team of coaches, instructors, skillstructors. We're a group of individuals with different skill sets. We are people who have struggled with this in the past and work on our craft every day to help improve our methodology. We are not magicians and do not pretend to be, but we are driven individuals who enjoy helping others reach success. Why SkillStruct? Here are 3 simple reasons why you should reach out. Reason 1. Skin in the game. We experience the journey to form the SkillStruct methodology. We practice the methods we teach in our everyday lives. Reason 2. Passion. We care. We are driven to help others improve. And finally, reason 3. It works. Our techniques are tried and tested on people who often struggle with new tasks. People in university, people doing apprenticeships, and those who want a career change. These are the reasons why SkillStruct was born, and our number one aim is to provide people with the SkillStruct methodology. Where can you reach out? Follow us at SkillStruct. And most importantly, go check out our website, www.skillstruct.com, where you can find out more about us, see our blogs, check out our services, and most importantly, contact us to reach out so we can help you on your journey to achieve your goals. Thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Take care from SkillStruct.
So yeah, that is what SkillStruct is about. So what we are is a platform, like I was saying before, to help empower people. We write blogs to help people, and giving back is something really big. From SkillStruct, we have our methodology, which I'll explain later on, and that's who we are. We're just givers, and we are just giving back our time and just our sort of availability for people to just take advantage of our experiences in whatever sector, really. I come from a technical background, so that's how I give back, but other people in their other skill sets give back in other different ways. And like I said, in terms of where to reach out, it was explained on the video, but I'm happy to provide the details of where you can reach out. Social media is towards the end. But yeah, that's essentially what SkillStruct is and a bit of the SkillStruct story. I'm now going to move on to the conversation. So this is the part where I'd like some comments in the chat if possible, and maybe facilitators on the call can give me a help in terms of what some of the comments are. So IT careers now and for the future. So before I dive into it, it'll be great to get an understanding of what you feel like the future of tech is, or what does that mean when I say the future of tech? What is it? What does it mean? Give me some examples. It'll be great, to get some ideas and thoughts in the comment section. I'm not sure if I can see the comment section, so I don't know if people are already writing comments in, but let me see. Okay. All right. Okay. If there's no one that's writing comments, I will move on, but I'll give it maybe 10 seconds. I won't do a countdown, but if there's no comments, I'll move on to what I feel is the answer. Okay, great. Okay. I'll move on then and just say that the future of technology. So what does this mean? So for me, I've picked out 6 things, and I'll explain briefly in terms of these 6 things are and why I feel like these are things where it's like the future of tech, in my opinion. So yeah, we'll start off with the cloud. So the cloud is something I guess I work on more in my day to day. The cloud, think about Spotify, for example, or Netflix. You don't actually own the physical music, you don't own the physical content, you stream it over the internet, and that's essentially what cloud technology provides. From Spotify's perspective or Netflix perspective, they may have things like subscription to AWS or Microsoft Azure when it comes to hosting the physical data, but you're actually renting out that piece of content. So that's what we talk about with the cloud. And this is something that businesses take advantage of when they provide software as a service as well. You might know it as a SaaS model. Those who are a bit more technically minded on the call and listening as well. And then yes, we've got other things as well. So blockchain is something interesting. It's been really hot the past few years. Those who are sort of in the financial world may have heard of cryptocurrency, for example. And cryptocurrency, the underpinning technology of that is blockchain. And blockchain is a kind of technology. It's a secure way of actually distributing information and data. It uses very sophisticated algorithms to decentralize data to make it really hard for people to infiltrate and hack that data. So get access to that data without permission. And so, yeah, we've got other things as well. So we've got machine learning. So those who are familiar with applications such as Cortana and Siri, the underpins of that is machine learning. And it uses sophisticated algorithms to build on data so much that it becomes almost autonomous. It's not 100% fully there, but it's so vast in its knowledge. It's building up data to actually guess certain predictive analytics and things like that. So that's where machine learning comes from. Data science is a part of that as well. So again, links to machine learning. So just again using data to actually curate information. There's concepts such as big data, which is essentially what it says on the tin, complex ways to ascertain huge amounts of data. You've got IoT, which is Internet of Things, and Internet of Things, think about your smartwatches, for example. I believe the previous presentator was talking about technology, and one of those things he was talking about was smartwatches, and that's a classic example of what IoT is. So IoT, Internet of Things, is about physical devices with the internet, essentially. And funnily enough, actually, I created a final year project, and I always tell my mentees this because I didn't realize it was IoT um, until a few years back when I reflected on it. So I had a project called Musology in the Form of Pi. So that's musicology in the form of Pi. And what I meant by Pi was the Raspberry Pi. So those who, again, might be in the tech world will know that a Raspberry Pi is a little credit card sized chip where you can do a lot of development. And so I created a music streaming platform by curating data. So again, aspects of data science here, and getting people to answer questions, and based on that, I would get the Raspberry Pi to stream music, and it connected so many things like the cloud. I used the cloud to store the answers. I used IoT again, like to stream music using something called IPv4. Now we've got 6, so this was a few years back. And so yeah, that was IoT. And then we finally got X. So X is that X factor that hasn't been created yet. So we're talking about maybe blockchain 10 years ago. So you might be on the call or just listening right now thinking, none of these things really gravitate to me. There's nothing there connecting to me. And by the way, like I said before, there are other things, that I haven't mentioned here that are also part of that future or the now of tech, really. So just to bear that in mind. But yeah, so the X is something that someone's creating right now in their garage, somebody that's actually creating something in their head right now, and 10 years to come, we'll be talking about that, and that will be in my sort of top future of tech or the now of tech. And I was kind of false to say the future of tech when really in reality it's a lot of now, because the way technology works is we are always building on it, and there's so much we are doing in this technology space or this technological space that it's just grown so much that in a few weeks we can actually be saying the future of tech is this. That's how much technology is growing. So yeah, that's it in its nutshell when it comes to the future of the now of tech and what to look out for. So I hope there's something that everyone can feed from when it comes to the future of tech here. And so I'm going to move on now. And before I move on, actually, just a quick thing. I'm somebody that always advocates note taking. So you might have noticed actually this little notebook-esque icon at the bottom right. So whenever you see that, it's kind of my subtle hint to say, hey, I'm giving you some things here to take away. So it'd be a good idea to just take some notes. So yeah, just to bear that in mind, those on the call and those listening to this broadcast, just to bear that in mind, take some notes, take something from this, because for me, it's not just me just giving a lecture. I really want people to actually take some tangible action from what I'm saying. So yeah, this was the future of tech. So I'm now going to talk about the competitive edge, and this can really be applicable to whatever profession you want to go into. I'm going to use the analogy of who wants to be a better programmer, because this is what I typically do when I talk to students at universities and whatnot, and it's mostly techie students, so students studying computer science and things like that. So I'm going to use that analogy, but you can think of most analogies. So whatever skill set you're really interested in, think about that. We are here about living better. Maybe it's about being more healthy and doing other things to be more productive. So think about it that way. And living better through programming helps me when it comes to my everyday. And like I said, SkillStruct helps me live better. And you might have a different perspective, but for this piece and this aspect of the second half of the conversation, I'm going to talk about how to be a better programmer. So I'm going to talk about the step one. If people do have comments, feel free to, like I said, put it through, and somebody will let me know, the powers that be behind the scenes, that there are questions, and I'm more than happy to answer them again. So yeah, step one, research. So those who know me will know that step one, whenever I approach anything, I need to do my due diligence. So let's say I want to be a better programmer in the cloud, for example. First thing I need to know is, what is the cloud and what tools are out there? So these are the kind of things I'll start to research, because a secret here is almost 99% of things you feel you are looking for probably exist on the internet. That sort of 1% is probably that X factor that I was mentioning before, in terms of that technology that hasn't been conceptually made yet, but will be in the future, in decades to come. So honestly, research is really key on this. You can be so amazed with the amount of information you find. So I'd say research is the first step when it comes to being a better programmer. And so as you discover the research and tools, you realize, for example, AWS is out there, Microsoft Azure is out there. These sort of programming tools are out there that you can leverage Microsoft Azure, for example, for. It's time to invest. And what I mean by investment is time. So those of you that, on the call, I'm thinking, now I've just done some research. Now it's time to be practical. You've got the theory, now it's time to practice it now. So start to play around with programs. Start to, because there's so many tools. So I get this misconception that it's really expensive to become developer, because you have to buy this, you've got to buy that. But those who know the concept of open source, a lot of tools out there are really free for people to play around and experiment. Again, if you do that research aspect beforehand, before you go into the investment, you'll realize this. And we can also actually refer to investment in money as well, because actually I do this experiment with students a lot, and I'll explain the experiment a little bit now, and you don't have to put the comments in the chat, but it's just to give you food for thought. So I normally have a conversation with students where I go, put your hands up if you have Netflix, Spotify, or any of these sort of platforms. And to be honest, 90% of people more or less put their hands up. You do get that odd 10% that may not put their hand up for whatever reason. Maybe someone's quite cheeky and thinks, oh, I've got YouTube Premium, but I didn't say it. But anyway, the bigger point here is most people have that software as a service or pay for that subscription. Then I mention other things. So I say, okay, so you pay for that. How about like Udemy or Pluralsight or Coursera or LinkedIn Premium to get access to courses as well? Then 50% of people put their hands down. And I say, hey, if you can afford to do or listen to Netflix, or watch Netflix rather, listen to Spotify and pay a service, you'd be amazed that people will be dumbfounded by that and aghast almost, and feel, oh, that's true actually. For whatever reason, when it comes to investing in their education, there's a distinction there almost, because there's the assumption that it's not fun. But then for me, one of my principles is you always have to leverage your interest. So I'm only in computer science, or I'm only studying something because I have an interest in it. So whatever reason, there is a disconnect between the two. So I always tell people, investment, yes, in time, but if you can invest in finances as well, then you really should do that. So again, so back to this guide. So now I'm investing in, let's say, Pluralsight, for example. I'm investing in that right now, and now I'm at a stage where I am investing, and I'm now, okay, I've got the tools, I've got Pluralsight. Now I'm starting to do these tutorials, and now I'm getting to a stage where, okay, I've got the theory, I've got the practice. Now I need something else. Now I need structure. And obviously with SkillStruct, if you haven't guessed already, skill is one thing that we talk about, but structure is also the other foundation. So SkillStruct is a combination of skill and structure. You might be able to see in the background, I've got skill plus structure. But yes, so structure is something you need. And what I mean by that is a routine. So for example, you know your schedule, right? So as a student, let's say, or someone that's working part-time, you know the best time where you can start applying the Pluralsight course or the LinkedIn fundamental course or whatever course. You know your schedule. So structure is really important here. So that's the third stage. And the next one, which kind of links everything together really, and this is the final step, is evaluation. So evaluation, and what I mean by this is feedback. I feel like you're in a constant feedback loop when you are always doing things and learning things for the first time. So let's take the analogy of being a better programmer. So you're now in the stage, now you've done a few tutorials, you've started to practice a bit more, and now you get to a stage where maybe there's a bit of a slump. You're, for whatever reason, not leveraging, or you're not ascertaining as much knowledge as you did beforehand. That can be for a number of factors. Normally it's because of the previous three things. So it might be to do with the structure. Maybe things have changed. So maybe, for example, you're in university right now, your timetable has changed. Maybe your part-time job has turned into a full-time job. Maybe you're looking for a new role, so priorities have changed. So that's where you have to assess the structure. And then maybe it's the investment. Maybe Pluralsight doesn't have that course. Not everyone on this call or listening might be a developer or anything like that. Maybe you need to put something else in place. Maybe you go to LinkedIn Premium, for example, and feel like, oh, okay, I need to do a course in business management. There's that. And research, again, maybe you're not looking at the right thing. So when I talk about evaluation, I talk about that feedback and how you can leverage your skill set even more so. So feedback and evaluation is very important whenever, for example, you have an interview. For example, I always tell my mentees that always get feedback, even if it's positive, because people associate negative feedback. Positive feedback is also important as well, because it helps you build on your skills. Like, you can refine your skills even more. Or obviously with negative feedback, you can, or I like to say constructive better, you can actually help elevate yourself. So evaluation is very, very important. So I say all of this now, and this is how I've got the competitive edge every time I've looked for a job, how I operate with SkillStruct, and this is the SkillStruct methodology. So it's called the RISE model, and this is something that we've created in-house and we share with as many people as possible, because we really want people to have a sort of four-step guide when it comes to gaining the competitive edge, or wanting a sort of guidance when it comes to approaching something like an interview, or just going into technology, or living better. Obviously, here now the theme is living better. So how do I live better? You rise. And there's a reason why it's called rise, because that's how you elevate yourself, is that sort of going upward trajectory. And so with rise, that's how you are able to live better, that's how you're able to become a better programmer, and that's really how you elevate yourself. And this is sort of one of the core pillars when it comes to SkillStruct, when we talk to people about how we, how we maneuver in the industry, and how, in our sort of everyday lives, we apply RISE principles. Normally in my talks, I normally bring a few of my mentees who have actually used the RISE methodology to gain internships, to change career paths, to lose weight. It's really something that is really pocket sized, and I formed this specifically for this purpose, just so people can easily take away something from this. So that's the methodology, and that is sort of the SkillStruct way of doing things. And so, yeah, I just want to just say, going forward with your career path, is the future is data. So obviously the theme of this was about IT careers now and for the future. So just understanding that the future really is information. So all these technologies I'm talking about, it's all about data and information. So Spotify, information about music; Netflix, information about videos; and businesses, information for whatever. So it can be I don't know, I'm just plucking straws here. So it can be a flower business, for example, and you need to get information on the seasons and what best flowers are best or adequate for a specific season or time of the month. So data is really important when it comes to programming and technology. It's data that moves from one place to another is how I describe programming. Kind of the ebbs and flows of programming is getting information from X to Y and then displaying it somehow. So on a website. So the classic example here is a website where you have the database, which stores data. You have some sort of in between, so some sort of server logic to get the data from the database. And then you have a visual representation, which is normally HTML, CSS on a web page. So that's what I mean by the future of data. It's all about information and knowledge management, which again is something, like I mentioned before, I write about on my platform. The future is what you make it. So going forward now, you should have a sense of what the future is and what SkillStrut provides with the RISE methodology. The future is up to you, really. So how you live better is how you make it, and how you decide that is how you as an individual perceive yourself and how you are motivated, really. So it's what you make it. So taking what I've said about the RISE methodology and how to apply yourself is what you can ultimately do to make the future your own. And so the last 2 points, which relate to what I've been saying previously, so the future is you, is up to you to make that decision in life and how you carry yourself, and rise to raise to gain the competitive edge. So the future is you. You're at a time, you might be young. I don't know how old some of the people on the call because I can't see anyone. You might be really young right now and thinking, okay, can I make mistakes? The answer is yes, you can. You're at a good time where you've got that currency of time right now and you can really take advantage of that. And so honestly, the future is you. And even if you're sort of on the older side of the spectrum, you can still make it your own today to decide that I'm going to take the RISE methodology and gain that competitive edge and live better. So again, rise to gain the competitive edge. So again, going forward, this is what you should do. And again, please do take notes. Go back to this video. You can probably rewind this or whatever, because I'm saying certain things that you should take away. And this sort of is a sort of picturesque view of what you should ultimately take away in terms of my talk. And so finally, I just wanted to say, you probably won't have time to tackle some of these, but I'll be really, really interested to know what your biggest takeaway is, whether that's in the comment section or whether just reaching out to me at SkillStrut to just say, hey, this was my biggest takeaway. And finally, yeah, for those who are listening who are the ages of 16 to 29 and are interested in joining the SkillStrut University Network, again, I will, I'm not sure how I can do this with just leaving my social media. Maybe people behind the scenes, I can give it to them and they can circulate it. If you are interested, I do have ways you can reach out. Obviously, skillstruct.com is the easiest way, and there's a contact us page where you can do that, but also social media as well. And finally, just to say, can you tell a friend about SkillStrut? Can you, like I said, give feedback? It's very important. As me, myself, I take the RISE methodology and evaluate things I do. So this talk, maybe there was something you were expecting that wasn't there. Or maybe you just want to say, hey, this was really great. That's equally fine too. So any sort of constructive feedback, whether positive or negative, I'm happy to listen to. And yeah, like I said, as SkillStrut is building our platform, we do appreciate you telling people about SkillStrut. You might feel like SkillStrut doesn't fit you, but maybe you have a friend in mind who's sort of into technology, for example, and wants to move in that career. Maybe they're just about to graduate, or maybe they're just starting university, or maybe they're thinking, what do I want to do? And that is how you can basically help with SkillStrut and give feedback and share. So that's really it in terms of the presentation. I just really wanted to say thank you to those who are listening for being part of SkillStruct Story. And I'm not sure if we've got time to take questions, but that is my social media. Essentially, it's at SkillStrut. Those who have a QR scanner, if you scan the screen right now. Hopefully you're going well. It should take you to my various social medias. And if there's some way I can send out my social medias as well, I'll try and do that. And you can take a note of that as well. I'm happy to answer any questions if we've got time to do so. But if not, like I said, feel free to reach out to me whatever sort of way you want to, whether it's directly on the contact us page or through social media. Thank you again. I appreciate it. I don't know if we've got time for questions. Do we have any chat in the window? Great. Okay, no problem. We are out of time. I just want to say thank you again. Everyone have a great day. And don't forget, rise to gain the competitive edge, rise to live better. Thank you.